All right, y'all. Welcome back to AYFKM, the show where your girl Victoria Sharp takes the clownery of American politics, holds it up to the light, and asks, is this governance, or is this a damn three-ring circus? And before anybody comes for me in the comments, yes, I know what I'm about to say is going to piss some people off. Good. Be mad. But be mad at the right people. Because let me tell you something. Lately, it feels like this administration is running a psychological escape room. Every single week, it's look over here, be scared of this. No, wait, panic about that. Meanwhile, the stuff that matters, the stuff that actually affects your rent, your grocery bill, your health care, radio silence. And I started noticing something, a pattern, a playbook, if you will. They announce something huge, terrifying, urgent. Everybody freaks out. The news cycle eats it up for 48 hours. Social media has a collective aneurysm, and then either it gets quietly walked back, or it turns out it was never as serious as they made it sound in the first place. So today, we're breaking down the panic politics playbook. I've got receipts, I've got timelines, and baby, I've got questions. This is Victoria Sharp. This is AYFKM. And if you thought 2025 was going to be less exhausting than 2024, buckle up. Let's start with the thing that made me want to do this whole episode. COVID vaccines. A few months ago, fall of 2024, the new COVID boosters dropped. And if you were paying attention to the messaging, you heard this. The FDA has approved these vaccines only for people 65 and older, or people with certain high-risk health conditions. Okay, makes sense. Prioritize the vulnerable. Except, that's not what actually happened. I walked into CVS a few weeks ago. I am under 65. Nobody asked me about comorbidities. Nobody checked my medical history. I said, hey, can I get the COVID booster? They said, sure, sign here. Boom, vaccinated. And I'm not special. I started asking around. Friends, family, people on social media, same story. Walk in, get the shot, no questions asked. So what the hell was all that messaging about? Turns out the eligibility requirements were so broad, they were basically meaningless. You qualify if you're overweight. You qualify if you're physically inactive. You qualify if you attest that you have a qualifying condition. And nobody checks. One woman in Ohio told a reporter she got vaccinated at CVS even though she didn't think she qualified. The pharmacist told her, we're just trying to encourage people to get vaccinated. Health experts themselves called it a muddle. They said healthcare providers were probably as confused as patients. So let me get this straight. The FDA creates strict eligibility criteria that sound intimidating and exclusive. The media reports it like you need a doctor's note signed in triplicate. People panic, thinking they can't get access. But in reality, the doors are wide open, and pharmacists are basically waving you in like, come on through, baby. Why? Why create confusion around something as simple as a vaccine booster? I'll tell you why. Because confusion keeps people anxious. Anxiety keeps people distracted. And distraction keeps people from paying attention to the stuff that actually matters. While everyone was panicking about whether they could get a COVID shot, you know what wasn't making headlines? Medicaid cuts, slashes to nutritional assistance for kids, the gutting of public health infrastructure. This is the playbook, y'all. Create a small panic to hide a big betrayal. Now let's talk about the federal funding freeze of January 2025. Because this one was wild. Late January. The Office of Management and Budget, that's OMB, the people who control the federal purse strings, they send out a memo, and this memo says, all federal loans and grants are frozen, effective immediately. Let me repeat that. All federal grants and loans. Do you understand what that means? That's Medicaid funding. That's school lunch programs. That's disaster relief. That's infrastructure projects. That's college financial aid. That's scientific research grants. That's everything. Chaos. Immediate chaos. Nonprofits scrambling. State governments filing lawsuits. Federal judges issuing emergency restraining orders. News outlets running 24/7 coverage with breaking news banners like "We're under attack." And then 2 days later, 2 days, OMB rescinds the memo. "Oh, our bad. Never mind. Funding's back on." Excuse me? You don't just accidentally freeze the entire federal budget. That's not a typo. That's not an oopsie. That's a deliberate move. So what was the point? Here's what I think. I think the point was the chaos itself. While everyone was freaking out about whether their nonprofit was going to survive, while judges were scrambling to issue injunctions, while the media was running in circles, what wasn't being covered? The actual policies being quietly implemented in the background, the regulations being rolled back without public comment, the environmental protections being dismantled, the worker protections being gutted. And here's the thing. This isn't even the first time. Elon Musk, who's apparently running a shadow government efficiency department now, admitted in a cabinet meeting that his teams accidentally cut off funding to prevent deadly Ebola outbreaks. His response? "We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly." Accidentally cut funding for Ebola prevention? Be serious. This is not incompetence. This is chaos as strategy. This is manufactured crisis as cover. Let's play a fun game. It's called "When Are the Tariffs Coming?" Round 1. Trump announces tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Starting April 2nd. Businesses panic. Supply chains scramble. Economists sound the alarm. Round 2. Actually, no. Tariffs are starting March 4th. Businesses panic again. Round 3. Just kidding. Walked back within 24 hours. Round 4. Maybe they're coming later, or maybe not at all. Or maybe just on some products. Or maybe... Girl, make it make sense. Paul Krugman, Nobel Prize-winning economist, called this the biggest trade shock in U.S. and world history. Janet Yellen, former Treasury Secretary, called it the worst self-inflicted wound. And yet, here we are, playing tariff roulette like we're on a game show nobody signed up for. But here's the thing. While everyone's obsessing over whether tomatoes are going to cost $47 next week, what's not getting attention? The fact that these tariffs, if and when they actually happen, are going to hit working people the hardest. The fact that they're being used as a threat, as leverage, as a chaos agent, not as actual policy. This is not economic strategy, this is psychological warfare. Announce something dramatic. Let the panic set in. Walk it back. Repeat. Keep people so exhausted they stop paying attention. And that's exactly what they want. Victoria. All right, let's talk about Project 2025, because this one is rich. During the campaign, Trump was asked about Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation's 900-page blueprint for dismantling the federal government and consolidating power. His response? "I know nothing about Project 2025. I haven't read it. I have nothing to do with it." Said it multiple times. Said it emphatically. Said it with his whole chest. And then, October 2025, Trump posts on Truth Social, and I quote, "I have a meeting today with Russ Vought of Project 2025 fame to determine which of the many Democrat agencies he recommends be cut." I'm sorry, what? Of Project 2025 fame. So you went from "I don't know her" to "let me introduce you to my good friend Project 2025, we're having brunch" in less than a year. The gaslighting is astronomical. But here's the thing. This isn't just about Trump lying. We know he lies. That's his whole brand. This is about the strategy of lying. During the campaign, Project 2025 was toxic, it was unpopular, it scared people, so he distanced himself. Not me, never heard of it. But now that he's in office, now that the cameras aren't on him every second, now that people are exhausted from the daily chaos, he brings it right back in, openly, publicly, and bets that you're too tired to care. And you know what the scariest part is? For a lot of people, he's right. Because when you're dealing with a new crisis every 48 hours, you don't have the energy to remember what was said 6 months ago. That's the playbook. Deny, distract, then do it anyway. Let's talk about the Epstein files. And I need y'all to stay with me on this one, because the whiplash is real. For months, Trump fought against releasing the Epstein files. Fought hard. So hard that when Marjorie Taylor Greene supported releasing them, Trump called her a traitor. Let that sink in. MTG, who has built her entire career on conspiracy theories and performative outrage, wanted the Epstein files released, and Trump said no. But then suddenly, he changes his mind, signs the bill, releases the files, and immediately tries to spin it like he's the hero, like he's the one taking charge and demanding transparency. Sir, you were the one blocking it. And now the administration is using a new criminal investigation as potential cover to keep some files under wraps. So, let me get this straight. You fought the release, then you released them. Then you immediately created a reason to not fully release them. This is not transparency. This is theater. And the goal isn't to inform the public. The goal is to control the narrative, to create just enough spectacle that people feel like something happened without actually delivering accountability. It's the political equivalent of a magician's misdirection. Look at my right hand. Look at this shiny thing. Pay no attention to what my left hand is doing behind my back. And baby, we are tired. Let's talk about the oopsie defense, because this is a newer addition to the playbook, and it's infuriating. Here's how it works. Step 1, do something devastating. Step 2, wait for the backlash. Step 3, say, oops, our bad, we'll fix it. Step 4, repeat. Example, international student visas. The administration removed F1 foreign student visa registrations, over 100 lawsuits, 50 restraining orders from federal judges, universities in chaos, students terrified. And then they reversed it. Oops, our bad, registrations restored. But then they said they're planning to introduce a new policy anyway. So, you broke it, said sorry, put it back together, and now you're going to break it again? This is not governance. This is toddler behavior. I didn't mean to knock over the tower, but I'm going to knock it over again in a minute, just differently this time. And the oopsie defense gives them plausible deniability. We made a mistake. We're learning. We're fixing it. No, baby. You're testing how much you can get away with. You're seeing what breaks, who fights back, and how loud the pushback is. And then you adjust. Not because you care, but because you're recalibrating your strategy. This is policy by chaos, governance by exhaustion. And the end goal? To make people so tired of fighting that they just give up. All right, let's bring it home. Because we need to talk about the biggest distraction of all, the culture war smokescreen. Every single time there's a real crisis, inflation report, unemployment spike, foreign policy disaster, suddenly we get, drag queens are coming for your children. Bathrooms are under attack. Woke DEI is destroying America. Taylor Swift is a Pentagon psyop. I cannot make this up. And here's the thing. I'm not saying these cultural conversations don't matter to people. I'm not dismissing real concerns that real people have. But I am saying that the timing is suspicious as hell. A recent poll found that most people describe this presidency as scary and chaotic. And that's by design. Senator Brian Schatz said it outright. Trump does what he always does. He creates a spectacle out of nowhere in order to distract people from what is actually happening. They are cutting Medicaid. They are slashing nutritional assistance for children and families. While you're arguing on Facebook about pronouns, they're cutting your health care. While you're panicking about Drag Story Hour, they're gutting environmental protections. While you're convinced that trans kids are the biggest threat to society, they're dismantling worker protections and funneling money to billionaires. This is not policy. This is pyrotechnics. It's WWE theatrics with worse acting and uglier outfits. And the saddest part, it works. Because when people are emotionally exhausted, when they're scared, when they're angry, they stop thinking critically. They stop asking questions. They stop demanding accountability. And that's exactly what they want. So here's what I need y'all to understand. This administration doesn't govern with policy. It governs with panic, confusion, and noise. When a government can't give you stability, it gives you chaos. When it can't give you progress, it gives you performance. When it can't give you relief, it gives you fear. And baby, we have been living in a fear-based content strategy for years now. Every headline is designed to spike your blood pressure. Every announcement is designed to make you panic. Every reversal is designed to make you feel crazy. Did that really happen? Did they really say that? Am I remembering this right? Yes, you are. You're not crazy. You're just paying attention. And that's what they're afraid of. They're not afraid of your anger. Anger is easy to manipulate. They're afraid of your attention. Because when you pay attention, when you see the pattern, when you connect the dots, you become dangerous. You stop reacting and start strategizing. You stop panicking and start organizing. You stop scrolling and start demanding answers. So here's my advice, and I mean this with my whole chest. Stop letting them exhaust you into silence. Stop letting them gaslight you into thinking you're overreacting. Stop letting them distract you with shiny, scary objects while they rob you blind. Pay attention. Question everything. Don't get played by panic politics. And when you see bullsh, call it out, loudly, publicly, repeatedly. Your call to action? Stop letting these people exhaust you into silence. Pay attention. Question everything. Don't get played by panic politics. And when you see bullshit, call it out. Share this episode with somebody whose blood pressure spiked over a fake headline last week. Send it to your group chat. Post it on your timeline. Make it make noise. Because let's stop being distracted and start being dangerous together. This has been Victoria Sharp on AYFKM. And baby, don't let the circus distract you. Watch the ringmaster. Stay woke, stay loud, and for the love of God, stay skeptical. I'll see you next episode. Stay tuned. Follow AYFKM on all our socials.